What's up, everybody? Tim here with Shields Model Car Customs. Guys, I have a video that I have been wanting to do for a while. Okay? I'm going to drop it. I want you to watch it. I'm going to talk about some of the supplies and a few tools that I use when I do my builds. Guys, these are pretty common supplies, pretty common tools, but who knows? Maybe it might help you out. Maybe you can use these supplies and tools yourself. I don't know, but we're going to talk about them. So smash that like button if you haven't subscribed. Please do that right now. I love you guys. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. What's up, everybody? Okay, so here we are. We're at the bench. Guys, I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time. Again, this is a video not necessarily about... Sorry, I just had to make sure my mic was on. This is not necessarily a video about the supplies that you should be using. This is just a video about the supplies I use, okay? These are things that I trust, things that I've used that's kind of just been something that has impressed me, right? Honestly, I mean, that's really what it is. This stuff that I'm going to show you are things that I have learned to use throughout the time that I've been doing builds. Some of these things you probably already use yourself. Some of these things you may not, because some things I'd like to get creative on. I like to find my supplies at various different places. Dollar General, Harbor Freight, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. There's so many different places that I find supplies that I can use on my builds. So I'm just going to go through just a few of them, okay? I say a few because I know there's a lot. There's a lot here, but I want to cover just a few things. Let's talk about what I use for glue. Obviously, my favorite glue is Mr. Cement, okay? I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. I use this. I like this stuff because it's easy to apply and it works basically for everything that I need to use it for. Does that make sense? It just works good, okay? So I like Mr. Cement from Hobby Lobby. I also, this was the first type of glue that I've used. This is the Extreme Power. Also picked this up at Hobby Lobby. This is the medium. One thing I will say is I don't really like this stuff to an extent. But what I have recently been doing is I like to take the lid off and I like to use it with toothpicks. I also like to kind of dive in with small Q-tips that I've also picked up from Hobby Lobby. And I like to use this on basically my chassis and my body installation. So whenever I am applying the chassis and the body together and I'm doing the final installation on my builds, I like to use this. It dries a little slower, but it definitely seems to have a stronger hold. So this is what I use whenever I am doing the final installations on my builds. Now I also use the Aleene's premium quality tacky glue, okay? I like to use this stuff, especially whenever I am working with my vinyl or my upholstery. This sometimes works great. And then there's other times where I will literally apply it with my Mr. Cement, but this stuff right here works great if you're working with the vinyl or any type of cloth if you're doing interior work. So this is what I like to use for that. And then of course you've got your old school Testors paint, okay, or Testors glue. Funny story about this is a buddy of mine from church gave me a model kit, and this model kit was from like the 90s. And I opened this thing up and this was in there. So this was never taken out of the package. This was still in the package. I took it out of the package. This tube of glue is literally from the 90s and it still works great. So Testors throughout time, it still works. So that is really what I like to use for glue. And then of course, you know, you have your everyday super glue that you can use. Again, this is the ballpoint pen style application for super glue. I don't use this very often, honestly. Basically everything that I need to glue, this tackles what I need. So tape. I like to use the thin strip tape from Hobby Lobby for like whenever I'm doing my trim around my windows, whenever I'm doing any type of stuff like that, interior, taping off interior for those added details, I like to use this. One little tip is what I don't like to do is if I lay my tape down flat, make sure the surface you're laying it on is clean. It keeps the dirt off the edges of the tape. That way, whenever you go to tape stuff off, your tape edges are clean and you don't have to worry about having the possibility of a bleed through without realizing it. I've learned my lesson on that. Um, the other type of tape that I like to use is the duct tape brand. Okay. This stuff works great. I use this obviously on my body work or taping off for painting whenever I am doing the body. So again, this stuff works great. I like it because it's well tested and a lot of people use this. This is literally what it's made for. It is made for painting. Okay. Now, am I going to sit here and say that this tape is the beat all end all? No, absolutely not. And I will also state that I know that there's people out there who will swear by another brand and say, well, this tape is made for model kits. This tape is made for this. Listen, I'm just going to tell you something. My personal opinion on that, whenever we get into the, well, this was specifically made for models. This is specific, guys, it's tape. Okay. It's painter's tape. Okay. Let's erase the whole, this was made for models. This was made for the hobby. And just get back to the basics and the essentials. You want to buy tape that's made for painting. Okay. So that's it. That's my opinion. I'm not really going to get into it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different brands of tape out there. These are the two that I use and that I choose. Let's jump into paint. Guys, paint is something that I have learned. You have to find out which paint works best for you by trial and error. Okay. I've done that. When I first started in the hobby, I kind of dove in and was using Rust-Oleum. I have since got away from Rust-Oleum just due to the simple fact of not necessarily because it's a bad brand of paint, just I just never really figured out a good way to use it to where it works with my style of painting. But what I do still use is I love Rust-Oleum's crystal clear enamel clear coat. Guys, I use that on all of my builds. This stuff is amazing. I mean, I really love it. I got this buffed out and wet sanded, and I literally use it on all of my builds. I love that clear coat. It does great. I love it. I love it. So, but with that being said, all other Rust-Oleum paints I have strayed away from, mainly because of the drying time. It just takes forever, in my opinion. So I like to use Duplicolor. Okay, Duplicolor is a choice of mine. I love the metallic silver Duplicolor. I use it a lot, especially on engine parts, exhaust, stuff like that. So Duplicolor is good. I like my Krylon Fusion. Okay, Krylon Fusion is another good paint that I like to use. And of course, you guys all know I love Black & Decker brand of paint. This stuff is amazing. I have used it on several builds, and every build has turned out amazing, in my opinion. Okay, so Black & Decker brand, wonderful, wonderful brand of paint. I would recommend it to anybody. Am I going to say that it's never going to fail you? Absolutely not. But this works well with the clear coat I use, so I love it. I love it. I like the way it sprays. I like the way it flashes out. Everything about Black & Decker I have grown to love. Also, what I have recently decided and grown to love is the Krylon uh, shortcuts. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. That was like a pause. My brain went blank. Krylon shortcuts. Guys, this stuff is amazing. This stuff lays smooth, flashes out smooth, and dries really fast. Again, this is Krylon shortcuts right here. Guys, love it. Love it. Love it. So, Krylon is, again, in my opinion, a really good brand of paint. I started off using Krylon when I was a kid, when I was building my first kits, and to this day, it still works great. So I also like to use my acrylic craft paint. I like the Crafter's Closet Art Basics that I pick up and I buy at Dollar General. These are $1 a bottle. $1 a bottle. I like to use these because I like to basically paint my interior with this. If I'm doing any type of uh, roof or ceiling liners or roof liners, I like to use acrylic craft paint to paint the inside of my uh, uh, interior, right? So I'm not talking about the seats or the floorboards. I'm talking about the roof. This is what I use. I love the Crafter's Closet brand of craft paint. It's very, very good. You don't really ever have to thin it out. It applies great. So that's what I like to use. And then, of course, I've recently picked up the Airbrush brand uh, acrylic paint that I have been trying to use and practice with on the airbrushing side of things. So this stuff, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good because I haven't really been able to really figure this stuff out just yet. I truly believe that there's a good chance that I'm going to end up loving this stuff once I figure out the correct ratios at which I want to use it. So far, these are only like, I think, $2.99 a bottle. So the price is good. I really, really, really am determined to figure this stuff out to get it to where I want to use it all the time. And then, of course, you can't go without testers. Testers paint. Guys, I love this stuff. The smell of testers paint brings me back to 9 years old, painting in my bedroom and just making a mockery of model kits. But I love this stuff. This stuff is great. I like to use this for detailing, just all kinds of things, right? This stuff just comes in handy. I always like to use it. I will be honest and say that I don't really use it as much as I used to. There are some things that I still like to use Tester's paint on. And the reason why is because I learned about these wonderful things called metallic markers. Okay, these things are wonderful. Okay, I love metallic markers. You guys have heard me talk about these quite a bit. I love them. I love them. Again, these are the Crafter's Closet brand that I get and pick up at Dollar General. Again, Dollar General. These are actual paint markers. You have the pastels and then you have the classic colors here. So these also are amazing. These are actually paint markers. These are acrylic as well, but they are metallic. So these things come in handy. So because of these, I have since not used my Tester's paint as much as I used to, but I still like to use them. Another thing that come in handy that I also buy, which is also the Crafter's Closet brand, are paint pens. You got metallic gold, and of course you have metallic silver. Again, pick these up at Dollar General. These, I believe, I don't remember, I'm wanting to say they're maybe $4 a piece. But these things last a long time and they're amazing. So the next time you're in Dollar General, go down their craft aisle. Guys, they have things we can use. So these are amazing. And of course, you can't go without your liquid chrome pen that I pick up at Hobby Lobby. Again, I can't remember the price of these. You guys probably already know. What I like about these is you have your fine tip and you have the fat tip. I use both of these. I can't believe this thing has not ran out yet. It has not, and I use it all the time. So, uh, pick this up at Hobby Lobby. You won't regret it. And then, of course, you got your just regular metallic Sharpie that you could also use. And, of course, I like to use a red permanent marker Sharpie. So, what I sometimes use these for are tail lights. Okay. I like to use them for engine detail as well. But yeah, if you're going to have a black Sharpie, you might as well have a red one. Okay. The two go hand in hand. So again, markers are your friend. Markers are your friend for sure. And then of course, I also use the Pro Essentials metallic chrome spray from Dollar General. This stuff is amazing. I love this stuff. It dries fast, and I've heard stories about most chrome sprays take forever to dry and you can't touch it or it leaves fingerprints or whatnot. This stuff does not. This stuff sprays and literally dries probably within 5 minutes. To show you an example, this is the interior on the 64.5 Mustang. That stuff does amazing. It does amazing. So pick you some up. Again, next time you're at Dollar General, pick you up some Pro Essentials spray paint. Now, this is about $6 a can, but it's going to last me forever because the parts that I paint are small. They're tiny. So this should last me a very, very long time. But again, guys, Dollar General, okay? I love this. I love this stuff. I'm glad that I decided to try it and bite the bullet, okay? It was the $6 well spent, okay? Let's just put it that way. So that is that. That is the paint side. I like to use the stretch cord from Hobby Lobby. This is what I use for my plug wires. Guys, this stuff works out amazing. It's perfect. This is rubber. Very easy to use, very easy to maneuver, and it's wonderful. It really does well with glue. It sets well with glue. It dries well. I don't know how to put that, but it seems to set well with the glue I use, which is Mr. Cement, right? So get you some of this stretch cord. They have other colors. This is black. This is just plain black, which I tend to use the most. But yeah, get you some bead on stretch cord. It's amazing. Picked it up in the beading aisle. I think it's called the beading aisle. I don't know. One of those aisles that have all the bracelet stuff, okay? Pick you up some. It's amazing. So guys, that is what I use as far as, paints, glues, tape. Guys, this is my brain, okay? This is where my brain goes. These are the things that I use on every single build that I do. So hopefully some of these things stuck out to you, and maybe you're going to try them yourself. Maybe you think, well, next time I'm in Dollar General, I'll go down the craft aisle. I encourage you to try something new, try some new stuff. Just because it's at Dollar General doesn't mean it's not going to work. Just because it's at Hobby Lobby doesn't mean it's going to work. And I'm going to show you some of that in just a minute. So let me get this cleaned up and let me show you a few tools that I like to use. A few tools that make my job a little bit easier when I'm building my kits. So don't go anywhere, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so here are a few tools I like to use, okay? Now, when I say tools I like to use, these are tools that kind of get me by. So, as you guys know, I have recently just picked up an airbrush, okay? So, with me diving into the airbrush world, I have got which actually my brother picked me this up. Huh. Guys, I promise I have an education, okay? I promise. My brother picked this up for me for my birthday a while back, long before I even had an airbrush and really started diving into it. But he bought me an ink mixer. Okay, so this is going to come in handy for mixing my paints. So this is a really cool little gadget. Okay, so basically you have your little stir sticks. Stir sticks go on the end, and you literally just mix your paint. It works pretty decent. And the reason why I know it works decent is because my brother, he does tattoos, and this is what he uses to mix his ink. So I know this works great. I'm really excited. I haven't really got to dive in it too much. I've been working with some paints on my airbrush, and I've just been stirring it by hand. But I think that this right here, it's time to really start diving in and using this because it's important. Okay, it's important to make sure the paint is properly mixed. I've learned this. So this is a really cool tool to maybe pick up. Now, again, I'm pretty sure you can get these on Amazon. I have no idea what my brother paid for it. I know it wasn't that expensive, but again, it might be something worth looking into. It comes with a lot of extra stir sticks, tons of extra stir sticks. And then of course it comes with these, but again, they come with extras as well. So this should get you through and get you by for quite some time. So that's that. So another thing that I like to use is my Warrior 80-piece rotary toolkit. Now I picked this up at Harbor Freight a while back. I got this for $10. $10. And I use this thing all the time. Guys, I love using it. It comes with so many things. It comes with an entire toolkit, everything you need. It has polishing wheels, buffing wheels, sanding wheels, has drill bits, it has stones, it has everything you need. And again, I've used this thing a lot, okay? I use it a lot and it's never let me down. It's a great little tool for $10. For $10. So there's that. Something else too, guys, that I think that maybe I never really thought about the necessity, but a hair dryer. Yes, a hair dryer. I use this hair dryer a lot, especially when I'm using my tester's paint. Whenever I got these things, when I got parts painted and they're drying, I like to use my hair dryer, not just on my beard, but on my parts. Guys, this comes in pretty handy. Again, this is like a $10 hair dryer at Walmart, okay? So I use this thing quite a bit, quite a bit. So I actually stole this from my daughter. I mean, she never used it. So I stole it, okay? And I use it a lot. I say a lot. Whenever I was using my tester's paint, I use this a lot. It helps with the drying process. It really does. Another thing that I like to do is when my parts are drying overnight, I like to plug in my little fan. And I'll point this fan at it and I'll let my parts dry overnight with this. Again, this is just a little cheap fan, desk fan that I bought at Walmart. And this thing, you can just, again, point it at your parts. It helps with the drying process for sure. So these are just little things that I have found that work pretty good for me. Again, some of you guys are probably thinking, well, duh, I've been doing this for years. Of course, a fan will dry parts. And of course, I've heard of hair dryers. Some people like to use um, um, my goodness, the things you make beef jerky out of. My mind's gone blank. Leave me a comment. Tell me what it is. A dehydrator. Oh my goodness. There you go. A lot of people use dehydrators, and that works well too. So that is, again, those are just the few tools that I like to use whenever I'm working on my kits. And of course, you know, these little things come in handy. Pick these up at Hobby Lobby, clip your parts. I like to stick them in my workbench here. I got, boom, okay. And then, of course, right? So everything has a purpose on my bench. And that's something that I think is important. If it doesn't have a purpose, or if it's something that I'm not going to use, I don't want it on my bench. Okay, because I'm already struggling with room as it is. But so everything that you have seen tonight are things that I have used or still use or plan on using. Another cool little thing to get is a little fingernail file. Guys, this thing comes in handy for lots of things. I like to use it to do some detail on my tires. I use it on my engine parts for fitting purposes, for dry fitting purposes. Guys, pick you one up. Steal it out of your wife's purse, out of your girlfriend's purse, your daughter's drawer in the bathroom, or next time you're drug into Sephora, pick you up one or two. Make the trip worthwhile, right? So a fingernail file. I use it all the time. It's actually about time for a new one, for sure. So that's it, guys. Another thing, you know, that I want to just stress is you got to have good cutting tools. Now, this is a knife, this kind of an X-Acto knife that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. This thing, obviously, I use this all the time, every day. But another thing that I think you really need to have are a really nice set of tweezers. Because, again, it's like having extra hands, right? So I picked up an entire set of stainless steel tweezers. I got these at Harbor Freight, literally paid $7 for the entire set. Guys, you got to have pretty, decent tweezers. I mean, I guess you could use pliers too if you want, but I don't know why you would. But yeah, get you a set of good tweezers, tweezers that aren't dented or broken or chipped. Guys, you want to be able to hold these small parts, and you want to be able to hold them to the point to where it's actually applicable for you. I started off, let's see if I can find them. I started off with these right here. Okay. Nah. Okay. They are pretty though. Look. But these just did not cut it. These did not give me what I needed, right? So you got to have, I like these, the self-gripping, right? I love these. These are nice. But the best one that I use the most are these little things right here. Look at that. They touch. They're great. You want to make sure you have good tweezers for sure. Okay. Can't stress that enough. Cannot stress that enough. And of course, you got to have some good cutters. Guys, listen. These are amazing. Okay. Hobby Lobby. Love these so much. These, I got these at Harbor Freight. Now, my daughter, Sophia, likes to surprise me. Okay. She decided she's going to bedazzle my cutters. I actually like them. I think it looks kind of cool. Right? So yeah, so get you a set of bedazzled cutters, right? You can find them at any local Dollar, right? So there it is, bedazzled cutters. So yeah, guys. So these are tools again that almost every one of you watching probably has. I'm just wanting to share where I picked mine up. Again, I think it's very important that we don't just be so close-minded and think that we only have to buy supplies at hobby stores. They're everywhere. You can get them in Lowe's, Walmart, Target if you want to shop there. You can get them really anywhere. Don't be afraid to try new things. Dollar General was something that I just never thought I would ever find anything I would use in this hobby at Dollar General until I walked down their craft aisle. And lo and behold, there's tons of stuff. Matter of fact, most of the stuff that I use is from Dollar General, which is kind of cool. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's the video I've been wanting to make. I want you guys to have a wonderful evening. I hope that you are. I hope that you got some sort of enjoyment out of this video, and maybe you're taking something away from this as well. Maybe you saw something that you want to try, or some things that you haven't bought and you want, and now you know where I get it. So, anyways, guys, I love you guys. As always, God bless you. And until next time, be safe and love Jesus. I'll see you next time, guys.